The NFL trade deadline has come and gone, and the Chicago Bears made a minor move for a pass rusher. We will re-hit that, plus discuss whether or not they should have done more and were they close to making a trade for a specific player. All that ahead here on today's show. But I want to hear from you guys. Grade the Bears trade deadline, A, B, C, D, or F. They made one minor move. I want to hear from you guys. How would you grade the job the Bears did? All right, Adam Schefter had the scoop that the Bears did a trade with the Browns, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and a seventh-round pick to the Bears in exchange for a sixth. Classic late-round pick swap. The Bears had to do something with Dayo Odeyingbo suffering a torn Achilles and being out for the year, so they turned to Tryon-Shoyinka, the former first-round pick back in 2021 with the Buccaneers. We'll tell you a little bit more about him. And again, at minimum, you had to get one edge rusher on this team. Now, I think we all wanted more. We're hoping for more. But as we'll discuss later in the video, you can't force the issue either. So you bring a guy in that should at least help for an absence of a guy like Shamar Turner, Dominique Robinson, who's still dealing with a high ankle sprain. Hopefully he can come back soon. Tryon-Shoyinka comes in. Hasn't done a ton this year with the Browns, but in his first 4 years with the Buccaneers, he had 15 sacks with Tampa. Has never lived up to that first-round pick, but he was a decent rotation player in his first 4 seasons in the NFL. Not sure quite why he couldn't crack a consistent rotation role with Cleveland this season. On limited reps, he did have a high pass rush win rate of like 29% this year, which is crazy. Obviously, that wouldn't be sustainable on consistent snaps, but does show he is capable. He's always flashed in his career, but he's never quite put it all together. But if he can come in, be a DE4 type, and contribute on some third downs, I think for a pick swap, that's kind of what you're hoping for when it comes to Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Did a full breakdown on this trade earlier today. So one of many reasons to subscribe to the channel. If you want content all year long, during the season, before the trade deadline, after the trade deadline, doesn't matter. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. We got you covered here on Chicago Bears Now. Some final thoughts before we tell you guys about our sponsor. And here in a few minutes, we'll discuss, should the Bears have done more? There was one move I was told that was pretty close to getting done, but did not happen. It's not like the sexy thing, but sexy doesn't always work. The Claypool thing was a disaster. The Montez Sweat trade has been hit and miss. I think the Bears had a disciplined approach here and poked around on some other players, and they got at least something that they had to get. You had to get at least one body to play defensive end. Tryon-Shoyinka should at least be able to come in here and have a role. I don't think any of us are or should expect him to change this defense, but at the same time, if he can come in here and just be a serviceable rotation pass rusher for a late round pick swap, I think that's totally fine, and you still have your draft capital for this offseason, so I think that's worth mentioning. All right, coming up, we will discuss if the Bears should have done more and a trade that I was told was relatively close to getting done. But first, we have to tell you guys about our sponsor, PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. It's very easy to navigate the PrizePicks app, as you can toggle by sports and then specific players and then start surfing through specific stats. You just pick more or less on stat projections for lineups of at least 2 players up to 6 players, and if you hit, you win money. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play option, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. I got a little 2-player lineup for this upcoming matchup, Caleb Williams and Jackson Dart. I like more on both of their passing totals there. 227.5 for Caleb, 199.5 for Jackson Dart. The Bears just gave up 470 to Joe Flacco. I know it's a completely different type of quarterback, different receivers, but I like Dart to hit 200 or more. I think Caleb keeps it rolling as well with more than 227.5. $20 lineup to win $55. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Were the Bears close on a Jermaine Johnson trade? I was told that the Bears offered a third and potentially a day 3 pick, and the Jets wanted a second, and both sides held firm. The Bears would not budge. They would not go up to the second round, and the Jets would not budge and settle for a third. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. Like, I was saying for weeks, I think a fourth is fair for Jermaine. Today, based on how the market played out with some of the big trades that went on around the NFL, I was willing to go up to a third, but I don't think Jermaine Johnson's worth a second. He had a torn Achilles last year. He's never been a double-digit sack guy. He's a good player. He's still a young player, but we don't have evidence that he's a great player. And I don't think I'm in the business of trading a second-round pick right now for a player of Jermaine Johnson's caliber. When the Bears traded for Montez Sweat, a second-round pick, he was much more accomplished for, consistently year after year than a guy like Jermaine Johnson, and that has been a mixed bag in terms of results since then. So to trade a second for Jermaine, I think would have been unwise. Things quieted down around Trey Hendrickson after some noise early in the day. Cincinnati ended up hanging on to him. It never got loud around Danielle Hunter. Kayvon Thibodeau, Giants ended up hanging on there as well. I am surprised that both Jermaine Johnson and Bradley Chubb did not get traded. I thought for sure one of those guys would get dealt, but the Dolphins didn't end up trading Chubb either. That is a bit of a surprise. I'm shocked that they didn't trade Rasul Douglas. I mean, what is the point of keeping 30-year-old Rasul Douglas on a cheap one-year contract on your team if you're the Miami Dolphins? It makes no sense whatsoever. Alante Taylor, sounds like the Saints held a firm bargain there, so maybe they just end up extending him. Reek Woolen, no surprise there. The Seahawks are in the middle of a playoff push. He's a quality CB2 at worst, a high-end backup. Not shocked they didn't move him. Cam Taylor-Britt thought the Bengals would trade more than Logan Wilson today, but they did not. And then no movement on Joshua Williams either. But again, to circle back to Douglas, like I thought the Dolphins, when they fired Chris Greer, like, okay, Jalen Phillips, you're trading him, cool. You don't trade Bradley Chubb. You don't trade Rasul Douglas. I understand if you don't want to trade Jalen Waddle. Reportedly, they were asking for a 1 and then some. I think that's a crazy ask, but I understand keeping him. He's a mid-20s receiver who's still really good. Rasul Douglas is 30 years old. Well, why would you keep him? I don't get that whatsoever. Speaking of the cornerback position, do you now shift your focus to Asante Samuel Jr.? Samuel has been medically cleared per Jeremy Fowler, and Fowler reports that he could start meeting with teams as soon as this week. And the Bears are still relatively thin, especially at outside corner. Jalen Johnson, we don't know if he's coming back. Nick McLeod has his limitations, right? Like, let's just be honest. Jalen Jones, mostly just a special teamer. Nashawn Wright's been fine, but he's up and down. Could Asante Samuel, at minimum, be competition for Nashawn Wright? And if fully healthy, which he's been medically cleared, obviously you would want to work him out and do your own medical check. I think if he's fully healthy, he's an upgrade over Nashawn Wright. So I would be pretty interested if I was Ryan Poles, Dennis Allen, and the Bears in terms of bringing in Asante Samuel Jr. We'll see if the Bears are a team that he ends up visiting, but that remains unclear at this point in time. What say you? Should the Bears sign Asante Samuel Jr.? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. I would at least bring him in for a workout and a medical check and see how he looks. If he looks good, I'd sign him because at worst, he's a good backup. At best, he could be an upgrade over Nashawn Wright. All right, there you go. Trade deadline in the books. Back to our regularly scheduled programming starting tomorrow. We'll have a mailbag episode probably go out in the morning, and then afternoon, injury reports. We'll hear from Ben Johnson post-trade deadline, see if he has any thoughts. Maybe we'll learn some more nuggets about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. We'll see if he can play this week, and they're probably going to need him to. I mean, they're thin at edge, so I would expect him to suit up. We'll have it all covered for you guys, so hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and as always, bear down.